Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of the original guru of good game. And I am your host, Zero Game. So I'd like to welcome you back to another episode, and I hope you enjoyed the past episodes, and I hope everybody's doing okay with this current lockdown situation. You know, social distancing, staying home, staying out of the public fray, but I just want everybody to be safe and be healthy and be good. So we're not going to do much on that corona thing. Like I said, there's more qualified people who have a better understanding of what's going on and who actually have factual medical advice. I recommend you listen to them because I don't know shit about viruses or how they function or how they spread from person to person. And I'm not about to bullshit you about like I do. Or fuck around and start talking about some shit I know nothing about. But I will talk about some shit that I do know about. In today's topic, we are going to talk about relationships. Yeah, I know y'all been dying for me to get there, and I said I was going to eventually touch on the subject because that's part of the format. It took a while, but we're finally there. So, on today's episode, when we talking about relationships, what do we want to determine? So how to have a good one? What's a good one? Do you know if you in a good relationship or a bad relationship? I mean, it's a myriad of questions that could be asked, and then there's almost an infinite number of answers that you could probably get. So I'm going to streamline this, and I'm going to just give you a good game tip that you can use, and it's, future references. And it always helps out when you're dealing with, relationships. So first things first, let's determine if your relationship is really in that kind of trouble or in that kind of need. So you need to pay attention to the modus operandi of the person that you're in a relationship with. Because remember now, if you in a relationship with somebody and, say the first 6 months, you could pretty much write down exactly everything you seen them or know that they're going to do or how they operate. After a certain period of time, you should know something. Probably less if you don't live together, but if you do live together, you should have a really good handle on who you dealing with and how, they do their things and how they change up and where they go and the way they go and, whether they change certain patterns or, activities in order to accommodate, a live-in situation or a relationship type situation. It depends on the individual, and you need to pay attention to the individual that you're dealing with. Because a lot of times we don't pay attention to the people that we actually see in front of us, and we end up in relationships that probably we shouldn't have been in the first place. The thing you need to do when getting into a relationship at the very beginning, and I must keep saying this because it is really just one of those good game techniques I love to give up that you need to keep in your repertoire to make sure you bring this out on a regular. Determine between what you want and what you need in a person. Now, that also applies to your relationship. You need to determine what you want in a relationship. And more importantly, you need to determine what you need in this relationship for it to be a healthy, loving, caring, sharing relationship with honesty and trust and all that good shit to come along with it and great sex. But if you don't determine what it is you expect out of a relationship or what you want in a relationship, don't get upset if the other motherfucker don't give it to you. You chose not to step forward and say, look, this is what I expect in a relationship. This is what I expect from my partner. This is the kind of things I expect us to do as a relationship and how it applies to us. But if you don't do that shit, if you don't speak up, then how the fuck are they supposed to know what the fuck you want? Like the old saying go, a closed mouth don't get fed. If your ass hungry and you walking up and down the street and you don't say nothing to somebody, then guess what? Your ass ain't gonna eat. But now if you happen to open your mouth and say, look, excuse me, I have no money. I'm homeless. I'm hungry. Could you help a brother out with something to eat? 6 out of 10 times people will look out for you because, most of the people are decent, caring people, and they will look out for you, but then you're going to get them times where, they're going to walk up and, man, get the fuck out my face. Go on somewhere. Get your lazy ass up. Blah, 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 blah. All that dumb shit. But that's life. So back to the relationship thing. Once again, you need to determine what it is you want from what it is you need. So then that way you can navigate to the right person and, more importantly, the right relationship. Because you could be with the right person, but y'all just don't have the right relationship. Then you could be with somebody where the relationship seems right, but the person might not be right. So them some things you just need to go over, determine, figure out, think for yourself, but definitely make sure that you determine between what you want and what you need, both in a person and in the relationship. And then sit down, be open and honest, talk about it, discuss the situation so you can determine if y'all on the same page or can y'all work to being towards the same page. Here's a little tip that I like to give out. Once again, some more good game technique. And this is something that you should be using and thinking about when you, looking at a person and you determining whether or not this is somebody I want to get into a long-term relationship with. Even if it's a short-term relationship, you don't expect it to last, a year. We'll see where it goes, this, that, and the other. But here's the main thing when this applies to all relationships, both male, female, whatever your orientation is irrelevant. This applies to everybody and everything in all relationships. And this is basically what I look forward to when I'm, determining whether or not I'm, this person is relationship material or not. And usually you can find this out because you need to date. People don't date anymore. It's social media, hook up, fuck, then try to have a relationship and then wonder why the fucking relationship didn't work out. Well, because you missed all of the beginning shit to get you into a relationship. You forgot about trying to learn who the fuck this person is. Then on top of that, you forgot to try to learn about how this person lives. Some people, we just not compatible. It depends on who you dealing with. Because some people, their brand of nasty might not be your brand of nasty. And I'm not talking sexual. I'm just talking in general. Because, some people, they don't like to clean up. They like to leave shit laying around, or I'll get to it when I get to it if it's necessary, that and the other. Then you got some people who they just won't stop fucking cleaning. And it's like, shit, all I did was put a little piece of paper on the table from the wrapper of the candy bar that I tore open that I took a bite out of. And this fucker ran over here and picked it up and started wiping down the spot where the damn piece of paper was. That's just a little bit going overboard, But like I said, you got to determine whether or not y'all compatible. And that's where dating comes in, because then you get to kind of see a person, how they live, what they do, You kind of get a sense of their behaviors. And once you get a kind of an understanding of their behaviors, then you can determine whether or not this person is somebody you want to fuck with in a relationship level. So how do you determine that once you get to that point? It is very simple. And always keep this in your mind if you're trying to get into a relationship or any kind of relationship, even if it's a fucking friendship, this shit applies. This is what you always need to keep in mind. A relationship, whatever it may be, friendship, sexual, emotional, mental, all boils down to the same thing. How much of the other person's shit can you put up with? And that's literally it. That's how you have a decent relationship or not, by determining if this person can I put up with their bullshit. And fellas, I know y'all been through this quite a few times, and ladies, you've been through it too. So don't even try to front like, y'all ain't never had no bad relationships, and neither do you fellas. Quit fronting like you ain't never had a bad one, because it always boils down to how much of the other person's bullshit can you put up with. If you can't put up with their bullshit or certain aspects of their bullshit, your relationship will not last. Eventually, you're going to get tired of their bullshit, and be like, get the fuck out, or you gonna pack your shit and get out. So it all breaks down to that one little simple question you need to ask yourself with anybody that you trying to get into a relationship with, even if you just a sexual relationship. Because bullshit comes behind that too. You get motherfuckers, y'all just fucking. That's all. We ain't doing this or nothing else. Now, a lot of times, I would say 7 out of 10 times, one or the other person is going to catch feelings. Even though they may not say they catching feelings, but you got to pay attention to their actions. If they acting like somebody who caught feelings, they caught feelings. They just haven't consciously acknowledged to themselves yet. They still in denial. No, I ain't got feelings. But you acting like somebody who got feelings, then that means you caught feelings, whether you want to admit it or not, but you did. That's some bullshit you might have to deal with. And then there's always, if they got children, then you got to deal with the children's parent. If it's a girl, you got to deal with the baby daddy. If you a lady and you dealing with a dude, you going to have to deal with the baby mama. And that might be some bullshit you just ain't ready to deal with. So you need to determine how much of their bullshit can you deal with. And then you let them know, listen, I'm only going to put up with so much of your bullshit. So if you want to keep seeing me and you want to keep tapping this ass, then handle your shit and don't let your shit spill all out of the toilet on my floor. Keep your shit in the toilet and flush appropriately. So if you do that, you can pretty much avoid a lot of the damn dumbass shit that goes on when people trying to date or get in a relationship. Just a matter of, can I deal with your bullshit? Or how much of your bullshit I'm willing to put up with to be with your stinking ass? Because that's another issue. Are you willing to put up with their bullshit because you want to be with them that badly? Now, if you doing that, I'm going to bring back to the old saying, make sure this person gives you what you need and not you, saying I'm going to put up with the bullshit because they got what I want. Determine what you need and what you want, and make sure that when you fucking with that person and you sitting there determine, can I put up with your bullshit? Is you somebody that's going to give me what I need if I do? Because you're going to be pissed off as a motherfucker, you put up with their bullshit and they don't give you what you need. Then you back to square one. Then you might even be a little bit, dismayed in the whole relationship dating thing. And then you might determine that, fuck it, I'm going to just do some shit to, drown the feelings, get rid of the pain. That's a bad way to go. And it will lead you into doing shit that you didn't mean to do and lead you into situations that you ain't want to be in. Case in point, it's a whole lot of motherfuckers running around right now going, damn, why'd I have a baby with this motherfucker? Or why'd I get pregnant by this motherfucker? That's what happens. Got to work that shit out. So, in closing, we going to always go back to this one little tidbit of information. Make sure you keep this in your brain. Think about it whenever you're trying to deal with somebody that you want to get in a relationship with, even if it's just sexual, even if it's just a friendship. Always remember, determine how much of your bullshit can I put up with? Because you can get into some bullshit with your friends. And then you get to a point where, you know what? I'm tired of your bullshit. You keep getting me caught up in a bunch of crap for some shit you done did. I'm running to the rescue, having your back, bailing you out, fighting motherfuckers that I don't even know. I'm just not going to let you get beat down in front of me. And then it always turns out to your bullshit. And I'm tired of putting up with your bullshit. So just remember that, people. When you determine in a relationship, always remember, how much of the other person's bullshit can you put up with? So we're going to end this episode. And I once again thank you for listening in. And I'm really loving all the likes and the comments and the, tweets and everything that you've been sending me and the emails. I really appreciate it.